All right, we're back. We're gonna do a little troubleshooting. So some of the things you don't wanna do or what makes slides less optimal to look at. So first we're gonna go kind of on the speed of once you hit your dot. So whether you leave right away or if you leave too fast or too slow. So this one we're gonna leave way too fast and basically gonna hit the dot and go, okay? Okay, it makes a really, really small blood slide. They don't have a lot to work with there. All right. On the other one, I'm gonna go too long or too slow on my uptake. So if I sit there and I let it spread all the way to the edge before I go, the biggest problem there is it's touching the edge. Now, there's a lot of cells that like to linger on the edge and some in the middle. It makes the counts a little harder when they're all the way to the edge of the slide. All right, so we've got two. We've got whether your angle is too steep or too shallow. If it's too shallow of an angle, one, it gets really hard to get your fingers out of the way, but it really spreads that blood really thin on the slide, which makes it a little less optimal to read as well. When you're too steep, you're gonna have the exact opposite problem. You're not gonna spread the blood quite enough. So if I'm way up here, I get this really little and thick blood. All right. Now we're gonna actually, instead of the uptake being slow and fast, we're actually moving too slow or fast. So if I move too slow, I leave at the same time, but I'm moving way too slow, I basically just get one huge thing. I don't get that nice feathered edge that we need to have. Okay, if I'm moving too fast, this one's really hard for me to do. I don't think I can move fast enough to make this bad, but I've seen it happen. Again, it makes it very similar to the angle where the too fast is a little too dark. They're gonna have a lot of crowding, and the too thin, like the too slow, is a little too thin. All right, so if we have an unequal pressure, you're gonna see sometimes some pretty funny designs going on. So I'm gonna pick up, and you're gonna get something like that where you don't get a feathered edge. I had pressure on my right side and not on my left. If we let off too early, you should always just go. We don't care if you get blood on the table, we can clean the table. But some people get nervous and they pick up. Oh, and I didn't pick up nearly soon enough. But sometimes you'll get a straight line right across, and again, it cuts off their feathered edge. We have the thing called the swerve. It's where they're not going quite straight. So it's something like that. Really kind of cute to look at, right? And then the skid. This one I'm not very good at. That's a let off on the pressure and back on again. So it's something like that. All right. The last few I've got, if you have too much blood, it will spread very quickly. And you'll end up with too much to get the feathered edge. It hits past the slide before it actually feathers. Broken glass, we're gonna break some slides here. You get slides that are made of glass and some slides are broken in there, so you always wanna make sure they're fairly clean before you start, because it makes it really grindy and streaky if it's not. Ooh, nice, glassy. I get a lot of streaks in there. It's kind of hard to see right there at the feathered, at the edge. But it gets really streaky. Streaks can also happen if you're pushing too hard. All right, we also have some blood that's about 2 weeks old. I don't know if it will make any difference, but we're gonna try. It's definitely darker. And I don't want to use the broken slide. Turns out it's really thick, isn't that great? So, ultimately, a good slide, kind of like these other ones that I made for you before, minus the one I left too fast. But you're gonna want to look for a nice side there, a good rainbow. I don't know if you can see it on the video.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, that's slide making.